Hi, I'm Tom Henriksen from the DevOps Online Summit. Today, I am joined by Tracy Bannon, a software architect and DevOps strategic advisor. Tracy, introduce yourself to the people here at the DevOps Online Summit.
Hey, Tom, thank you for the invite. And you got it right. I am a very passionate software architect. I am also an engineer, a software engineer, and I end up focusing a lot when in DevSecOps, but not because it's the goal, but because that's the only way to get value delivered out, to the end users. So thank you for the invite today.
You bet. You bet. Now, Tracy, you want to talk to us a little bit about DataOps today. So I know we were talking a little bit before. And I guess is DataOps, is it just taking DataOps? Is it just DevOps for the database?
Oh my goodness. Oh, no, actually. So DevOps for the database is DevOps, leveraging the same techniques for the database. No. So DataOps is in response to the growing realization that data is our currency. The idea is we were so focused on building software that there are two different things that people haven't thought about. One, I need to be cognizant of how data scientists and data engineers do their need to have different environments and need to move, operationalize an algorithm. And the second part of it is understanding different data patterns that are happening now. We're used to talking about DevOps and we're thinking about transactional applications, right? I need to push that new microservice out. But what if it's about data ingestion into an integrated data environment and I needed to move packages of data, right? The entire dichotomy. We went from IaaS, right? I'm going to adopt infrastructure in the cloud. We thought we were going to go into all of this refactoring and cloud native. And what happened is we swung to this amazing focus on data and analytics. So it's a bit different. It does take some of the principles of DevOps, right? So I want to have quality, right? I want to have stability. Speed matters, but at the speed of relevance. But it's a little bit different. It's aligning the way that you're managing your data with the goals that you have for your data. A woman by the name of Brittany Swanson. That's a quote from her. It's aligning the way that you manage your data with the goals that you have for the data.
Interesting. I like the analogy that you use there, Tracy, of data as our currency. And I guess that's probably something as you talk to an organization, you probably got to get to what their real currency, what their real data is, because I'm, as working in this space for a long time, and I have some gray hairs to show it, but sometimes we kind of get mixed up on what the real data is, what we really need, don't we?
We do. So if we think about, there are kind of four buckets that I always draw in order to draw out from people what their data needs are. So if I think about three boxes across the bottom, I've got my transactional environments, right? This is where I'm capturing whatever it is I'm capturing. So this is my CRUD operations. I'm getting that data all anew. On the opposite side, the other box on the two, maybe call them the bookends, is my analytic environment. And I need data scientists and how they have to perfect data and tranche through data and wrangle data. In the center of that is data integration, right? And so this is your data fabric, is your data services, this is your data backbone. And then across all of it is the thing that bores people, but is so amazingly important right now, which is data governance. It's all your enterprise information management. It's some of your ETL tools. It's some of your cataloging. Once you start to put them into those boxes, right, three across the bottom and the the capstone at the top, people start to go, oh yeah, that's my problem. I've got data over here, but I don't know how to get it to my data scientists. Or yeah, we've got data scientists over here, but they're using raw data. They don't know how to subset it. We don't know how to manage it or create new environments. Think about this. For the typical developer, we think about having dev test prod, right? Just at the simplest end, we have dev test prod. What environments do you have if you're a data scientist? So dev, I don't put all my production data in dev, right? As a developer, we don't. So we have to start thinking about it differently. Much different controls. I have to think about how I'm going to move that data from production make it available
Mhm.
to a data scientist? Can they see it all? Does it have to be de-identified?
Yeah.
Does it have to be subsetted? How do you manage it?
Mhm.
And then add automation on top of all of that. So
Yeah.
it's wonderfully complex. It's beautiful though. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. But data as your currency, you have to look at those buckets and understand where are they suffering?
Yeah.
Where's their risk?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see where you kind of draw that picture, and I was taking some notes here, but I can see how that's helpful for an organization to kind of see that, as you said, kind of pinpoint where is the problem at, because every organization is going to be a little bit different on how they, maybe like you said, it's the analytical data can't be shared or it can't be subsetted, or, it's kind of helps kind of draw that picture, because the picture really helps, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. Well, as an architect, right? You've operated in this space as an architect and engineer. The first thing that I do is draw a picture.
Yeah.
I drive my teams crazy at times because we'll be talking and I'll be like, okay, guys, hold on. I've got to bring up Draw.io. I've got to bring up Sparksy. I've got to bring up something so that I can start putting the boxes and talking about the flow. But yeah, it's our dialogue, right? It's the way that we communicate with each other. It also helps us think about this. And this is a foot stomper. Continuous integration of information for us, right?
Yeah.
For whether it's DataOps, DevOps, whether it's how do we get that all centralized? Picture does it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so helpful and kind of brings us all. So we're all kind of as we were actually talking before we started the recording, we were talking about clarity. And I think that's what this picture brings, is it brings clarity to the situation, because we can start talking about data, but if we don't have a clear picture, we're not aligned and we're not trying to solve the right problem.
Exactly. What's interesting is to hear people ask, well, I need to do, in the same way they would say, I want to do DevOps, I need to do some DataOps. What is that thing that you think you need to do? Right? It's not understanding and not having a definition. Industry defines it wildly different right now. Some folks are saying, well, yeah, it is DevOps applied to data, and it's not. Data Kitchen does a fantastic job. Chris Berg does an amazing amount of writing about this, and he's probably one of the leaders in the industry around this. I've been following him for years, love chatting with him about this, but it isn't applying specifically DevOps. It's taking those principles. Someone will say, well, is DataOps the ability to make a data lake faster? Well, no, it's how do we get to business value? So some of those predetermined value definitions are important, whether it's DevOps or DataOps, but the definitions are all over the place with what are you really trying to do?
Yeah. So if we embrace something like DataOps, what are some of the benefits? What can it do? Can it help drive innovation, or what are some of the benefits to it?
Oh, gosh. All of the above. So I can, number one, the most clear cut is how do I enable a data scientist to uncover truth? And it doesn't have to be a data scientist. How do I have the data analyst uncover truth? We've got a lot of people who have a lot of understanding of domain space. Now we have the ability to give them democratization of this data, to have them combing through it and coming up with the answers that they need to come up with. That's the number one way. Now, it can help us also that once we get the environments that they need, we're providing them the tooling that they need. We give them that agility. We also help them operationalize the algorithms that they come up with. That's another part of DataOps, is operationalizing the algorithm. I still have to be able to take that code, and an algorithm is code, and move it forward. And that's not something that a data scientist is used to in quite the way that a hands-on dev would be, right? I'm writing React code, right? I'm over here with Node.js, probably not the same as for that algorithm. So checking that into code, having test cases against algorithms. So when you start to apply that kind of rigor, that's also a part of DataOps, is applying rigor to a place where it didn't have the same type of focus before.
Yeah, with that rigor and with those changes, I'm guessing this is going to affect we're trying to increase the quality of the data that we are providing to the data scientists, data analytics.
So there are a couple of different things that are really driving this, right? One is the need for insights. So we talked about that a little bit. There's competitive pressure, we know speed, quality, reproducibility, diversity. What are the things that we're trying to do with the data? there's also a data explosion that's driving this. I saw a statistic somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to nerd out for a second. 2.5 quintillion bytes of data created daily.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow. I kind of want to see the ticker going for that one, don't you?
Yeah.
But between IoT and online shopping and operational data that we're gathering, so we've got a data explosion that's also driving this. There's opportunity. I use the term democratizing data. So new companies, new products are driving DataOps as well. But there's also something, it's called data drift. And it is this pollution that there's so much data happening, this unending, unprecedented explosion of unstructured data or data that is structured, that's not semantically known. There's data drift that's going on. And there's a lot of data debt. So data ops is being driven by kind of the convergence of opportunities, past challenges, and quite frankly, new technologies that we have.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about there, you touched on data debt, and I'm guessing as a developer myself, I talk a lot about technical debt. Is it similar or what is it? Yeah. Absolutely.
So data debt is you have that fractured data environments. You have data silos. There's a term that I love, which is called data hoarding. Can I say that on recording? Yes. So it's called data hoarding. This is my data. I own it for my organization. And or within my different company, and I'm not going to make it available to you. Or if I am, I'm not going to do it in a way that is as usable as it could be. Lines of business can do this even within the same company or corporation. And then they go and procure their own applications for their data. Right. It's old school, but it's still true. We're not integrating the data that we need to. So that's some of the data debt that we get into. It's akin to tech debt, but you have to pay it down in a very different way. Right. How do you look at data debt? You use different data ops techniques like leveraging semantics, semantic modeling, looking across it to understand, can I create a single model that has all of these disparate sets that are going across the bottom? Think of it in terms of crystal reports. Yes, I'm dating myself. And creating a semantic model. You can do that at scale now. And that's another amazing and important part of data ops. So you ask about innovation. Gosh, it's like DevOps, right? Data ops is not any kind of rigid dogma. It's principles based. It's a practice. You influence how your data can be provided and updated to meet your data consumer needs. And that's what it is at the end of it. There's no specific architectural solution. There's no specific technology. Use this, therefore. It's the same way. And that's why it is so gosh darn hard. I would say cloud is a whole lot easier. Remember a couple of years ago, we're going to do cloud. Doing DevOps and doing data ops and doing them is even much more difficult because there's not a specific framework. You have to take a step back, and you're gonna hate this. Gonna have to ask, what do you need to do? Why do you need to do it? And let's talk through in your context, and that'll help us move forward.
So you touched on this a little bit, Tracy, but measurement. How do we measure DevOps? Is there certain metrics that people use in this space, or what are some ways to do that?
There are some data ops. A lot of it has to do with they're most of them. They're not mean time to recover. Most of them have to do with data quality. And so there is the time for release. So there is frequency. And so that plays into it. But it's not the same. And it's actually a growing area for there to be better metrics.
So more to come, I guess, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Someone asked me the other day, what's a data pipeline look like? I said, well, just throw away what you know about your old environments and think about extraction environment, a science environment, and then an implementation environment. Like that's where the decision makers looking at the answer that was created in the data and science environment, but somehow I had to extract it. So if you start to think about the pipeline and what it looks like, it's quite a bit different.
Tracy, it's been good to talk about this today. Any closing thoughts?
DevOps and data ops are kissing cousins. They're not the same. Take a step back, ask why. Focus on culture above all else. Focus on the humans, because if we focus on the humans, if we focus on the culture and asking why, all of the other technical goodness falls into place much more easily.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. I know as a technologist myself, sometimes we want to focus on the technology, but it's the humans that, are the important part of the equation. We need to talk
Probably
to
the most
them.
disappointing part of my career is that I want to be hands down, heads down in the tech all day. And my gosh, it's all about people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, well, thanks for the invite, Tom. It's been great to talk with you today.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciated it. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On behalf of Tracy Bannon, I am Tom Henriksen for the DevOps Online Summit.